Today, let's talk about the who, the what, and the how of Advent. Three of the so-called reality-revealing questions that might help us to reflect on the meaning of the readings for the second Sunday of Advent. First, the who. We often hear the expression, Christmas is for kids. While I don't totally agree with that position, even if it were true, Advent is definitely not for kids. It's for adults and adolescents because it takes a more developed mind to appreciate what we're about in this season of anticipation. Small children have little or no appreciation of time and distance. That's why you hear from the back seat over and over again, are we there yet? And then a few minutes later, the same question. To complete Advent, or to celebrate Advent, it's necessary to differentiate time and space. It's a period of living in the here and now, but looking to the past at the same time, but also appreciating the future. And it's the Christ in the here and now and how we are invited to make his presence known in the world. The what of Advent can be many things. Today, let's focus on one, hope. It's the ability we have, or need to possess, of living in the here and now and truly believing in our hearts that things will work out okay. Not in some Pollyannish naivete, but with a deep sense of trust in the Lord and his love for us. This what of Advent is made clear in the reading from Baruch. It's a very short book in the Bible, and it's the only time we read from it on a weekend in the 3-year cycle. We hear from this prophet who imitates Isaiah, who is talking to the Jews living in exile and trying to have them possess a sense of hope. Baruch personifies the city of Jerusalem. He says, take off your robe of mourning, stand on the heights. Jerusalem was defeated, but he wanted to proclaim a message of hope, the message of Advent. It's a time for us to believe in the power of God to overcome all evil, even when we don't see how it's possible. It's a time to profess belief that the so-called mountains in our own lives, those things that seem impossible to overcome, will not defeat us. And those valleys full of despair and defeat will be filled in. Finally, the how of Advent. Again, for many possibilities, let me isolate the prayer uttered by Paul in the second reading. Paul writes, my prayer is that your love may more and more abound in understanding and wealth of experience, so that with a clear conscience and blameless conduct, you may learn to value the things that really matter up to the very day of Christ. What a great way to mark the Advent season, to learn to value the things that really matter. And the way we learn to do this is to understand and experience the presence of God's love in our lives. Perhaps if we did this, our mountains would indeed be made low and our valleys filled in. Advent is for adults and adolescents because it is only in these stages of growth that we really understand the challenges life gives and the meaning that our faith offers. As we continue our Advent prayer, let us ask the Lord for the grace and strength to mark this season of anticipation as people who are convinced to mark in the presence of Christ in human history, even today. And may this conviction mark us as people of hope.